You know, like when you're doing drugs and as soon as you wake up in the morning, that's the first thing you think of. So I kind of took that same energy and I'm like, all right, every day I'm just gonna like focus on my band and try to do something. And I think it worked out well because it gave me something to do. I wasn't just sitting around. Chase, playing Gatecreeper. Welcome to my crib. Got really into plants, but then some of them started dying, so I've mixed some fake plants in with the normal plants.
Let's go crib style. What do you got?
Let's see what we got. We got Red Bull, cranberry juice, a couple different seltzers. Got some leftover Thai food, Canada Dry, some cream soda. Today I was listening to this band Destruct from Richmond.
You got a top 5 records in there?
Top 5 records. I wish that I had these more organized because I don't. This one's probably a top 5. Grave Into the Grave. Oh, this one as well. Dismember. Gotta throw that on top 5. Mesa AZ right here. I kind of go back and forth on which Black Sabbath record is my favorite. Probably this one. Morbus Chron. They broke up after this record, but I don't think it really got its due. Can't knock that one. Can't not show that one. This record, Morpheus Descends, the guy that did this album art is the guy that did our Deserted album cover. You know, I got into hard drugs when I was 16 or 17. I bounced out of a lot of different rehabs and detoxes and sober livings. When I went into the psych ward, it was when I got kicked out of a sober living for the last time. And my friend just dropped me off and said, you know, like, you gotta go tell them that you're suicidal, you're gonna kill yourself because you have nowhere else to go. You know, people were trying to help me, but I wasn't trying to help myself, so they're like, you can't be here anymore. When I got out of the psych ward, I went to the Salvation Army rehab in August 11th, 2012 was my sobriety date.
And so you've been sober ever since?
Yeah, coming up on 9 years. But once I kind of got my life together, I started playing music again. That's when I started Gatecreeper, like right after I got sober. I think I was maybe like a year sober. I kind of just used that, what I call like the junkie hustle, the junkie energy, and just like put it towards my interests. And at the time it was my new band. I've made friends with a lot of people who are in the same stuff, like design-wise. Someone that I think that they live in Spain or Italy did this sort of stuff. I really like that aesthetic, so I bought my own Xerox machine. My friend Dean, I hired him to do this tape layout for Gatecreeper. When he did it, I was just like, how did you do that? You know, like I've been trying to make stuff look like this, but he's like, oh, you gotta Xerox it. And one thing about the Xerox is like, it's all like guessing, kind of. You're like trial and error. I never know what it's really gonna look like, so I try it a bunch of different times. I mess with the settings a bunch, but sometimes you want it to look really dirty and sometimes you don't, like, but I think it looks cool. Screaming hand.
Put it in the deep fryer?
Yeah. Let's cook it up. You can see like the difference between, it's a lot less clean. I like how it does, you know, it adds some weird textures to it, but yeah, I'm not an illustrator. I can draw if I really need to. Like I did, we did this like special sleeve for our record release show, and I drew that. So if I need to, I can. But I'm typically not drawing from scratch. It's just years and years of finding cool stuff, whether it's like online or in books. Like I have a lot of these art books right here that I can get some like little pictures, you know, like little illustrations or borders or something from it. This is one of my favorite ones that I've done. It's kind of like a collage. It's for the band The Body. This one I did for Nails. When I book a show, I want to make my own flyer. So like here's a Spectral Voice one and a gag flyer. This was probably a pretty early one when I first started doing this stuff. Did an East Coast tour. This was like a DC show. Oh, here's a cool one. I designed this mailer for Holy Mountain Printing, the company that does a lot of our merch. They screen printed this design on a lot of the envelopes before they sent out shirts for all the bands that they print for. So this tour got canceled 2 days before it was supposed to start. Like we were packed up and we were ready to go. And then we just got the call that it was like, stay home. Within a couple weeks, I just started writing new music and we decided just to do a new record. Musically it was different, but then also we decided from the beginning that we wanted to do it as a surprise release. We didn't tell anybody we were doing it. We didn't make any announcements that we were even working on music or recording. I didn't think we were gonna be able to keep it a secret, but we did. So this is the original painting for the album cover. Tom Toy lives in New York, and I also got the original sketch for it. Our last full-length record, Deserted, that's the original painting. I have one of the sketches for that one too. It's like writing me letters, and yeah, he sent me a couple sketches. I think one of the sketches, he was like, hey, can you send that back to me? I didn't make a copy of it. So like, he sent me the sketch to check out, and then I just sent it back to him. So we did a skateboard when the record came out. Looks cool on the merch table. You know, you got records, shirts, you got a skateboard. People are like, whoa.
That was good.
Another one. I got into skateboarding when I was probably in 5th or 6th grade. I consider skateboarding and punk and metal and stuff, they're all kind of from the same place. I think probably the first time I heard Slayer was probably in a Zero video. I remember I had one of those, I think it was a Shorty's shirt that said skateboarding is not a crime or something on it.
That's a Santa Cruz shirt.
Is it? For me, it's important. Those two are important because that's how I got into music, through skateboarding and the other way around. So it's always been tied, and I think it's important to, like, you know, incorporate the two.
Where are we heading right now?
We're gonna head to our practice space, which is in Phoenix. Actually, a majority of us live in other cities now. 2 of the guys live in Tucson, and our new guitar player lives in Texas. Even when majority of the people lived here, we would still only practice like right before we had a show, or like get together for a weekend or a couple days before we left on a tour. So it's not that much different, but we kind of have to plan everything far in advance. Even in death metal, there's like Florida death metal, you know, like right now there's a lot of cool bands in Denver, but Arizona is not what people expect, I guess. I came up with a term early on in the band, GED riffs, because I'm not very good at the guitar. It's like School of Music dropout riffs because they're so simple. Using as little fingers and as little frets as possible. We share the space with Spirit Adrift. There's been a couple other bands that have kind of also been in the mix, but I think right now it's mostly just us and Spirit Adrift. So me and Eric, the guitar player, we do most, if not all, the writing. Like, we're not really a band that comes into here, the practice space, and like jams together to like work on new ideas. We use technology, so me and him both use GarageBand. So like you can program drums and we just make our own demos. A lot of the times it's a collaboration, but even if, say, one of us wrote the majority of the song, we always work with each other to finish it out. I think think that that's helped us out a lot as a band to be like reliable. We're down to go out for 6 weeks and like we're gonna be there on time. We do a couple tours on our own and then other bands start asking us to open for them or be on their tour package. There's so many friends that we've made now that like it makes touring fun when, you know, like when we toured with Power Trip or whoever it is, like some of the bands that we tour with are like older than us, you know, like, which is cool playing with like the OG bands. But then when we get to tour with bands that are like our contemporaries or our friends, that's the most fun. At this point, you know, Deserted came out in October 2019 and we only got to do 1 tour on it. Usually we would tour on record for like 2 years. Since we decided to do another record, now we basically have like 2 whole records that we haven't toured on. So being able to give those their due is exciting. I think people are just gonna be excited to be able to see live music again. This is our merch setup for the tour that didn't happen. After everything got canceled, we ended up selling all of it online, which I wasn't sure if people were gonna buy this one because it has the tour dates on it, but people actually really wanted that. I don't know, it's like some weird artifact for the tour that didn't happen. You know, like when you're doing drugs and as soon as you wake up in the morning, that's the first thing you think of, you know, and like it's more than a full-time job, just every day, like how am I gonna get money? Like always scheming a little bit, you know? So I kind of took that same energy and I'm like, all right, every day I'm just gonna like focus on my band and try to do something, work on something, like try to get us on this show or do whatever. And I've just continued to do that. And I think it worked out well because it gave me something to do. I wasn't just sitting around. If people are struggling, there's so many different resources now. An important part for me that was really cool was finding out that there's other people that like the same things I do that are also sober or in recovery. Like seeing someone at a meeting when I was first started going and being like, oh, I seen that guy at a show. You know, like, or he has like a cool band shirt. I'm like, oh, my life isn't over now that I get sober. Like people are still doing the same stuff. So but it's meeting other musicians that are sober or like skateboarders. I know there's a lot of skateboarders that are sober. Like that may seem kind of shallow or petty, but I think it's important to like realize that there's people among you that are having the same problems and are finding a solution to get over it.
Thanks for checking out this video. Click subscribe to see all the squad, the SC squad, guys and girls, everybody on this channel. Click it right here or right there or wherever Joey P puts it, wherever it's at.